Welcome to another episode of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
I'm Tim.
Welcome, one and all. We've done the celebration on Saturday night, so this is actually a regular format episode back to the stream of things now. So tonight we're going to be covering off the list from Alien Weaponry, Carcass, and local band StormSinker. We'll have some Hard Rock happenings in a minute as well. We're going to do a draft of 5 terrible albums each. From bands that, generally speaking, have a pretty good catalogue. So we've got some rules to go through in that regard. So it's a bit of a fun draft coming up. The objective being to create the most obnoxious list of albums we can with 5 rounds. As always, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, all those things. Any individual interaction you have with us online is important and helps us get the word out and gets more people seeing these things. So interact, engage, have some fun with us. Give us your thoughts. As always, say hi if you're here with us. Not like I'm getting some as well. And also, please follow, like, share, do the same things for our fantastic sponsors as well. Big thank you to Squinting Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Now, any details you need are in the description or the post that you want to check out. Go and follow on your preferred social media platform, whatever it is. And there'll be links for the clips to check out and all sort of stuff there as well. That what we talk about tonight, your reference track will be in there. So there's a lot to get on with. Here we go. Got some comments coming through. I'll get to those ones. Actually, I'll do it quickly now. Sally's jumped in to say hello, guys. So she's a good regular of ours. Thank you for joining us once again. Dean's going, hey, legends. Hope all is well. And congrats on the award about time. Thank you. I know that you say me, but yeah, it is to everyone. That's not just me. That's 10 years in the making. And I've still got it sitting here, believe it or not. So why the fuck not? If I can, I'm going to fucking officially award-winning television right there, folks. Anyway, I'll put that away. I'll still get boring. Lee, after the stream on Saturday, said, surprise, still on the air after Saturday night. Well, yeah, there's any number of ways that can go wrong, but we got there in the end. Sumaleth, our good friends on YouTube, is just giving us the horn, say hello. Good to see you here. Tough. So you guys feeling good from being hungover? Well, we didn't do anything on Sunday, so we all just sort of sat around and felt sorry for ourselves and progressively got on with it.
That's why we're doing the show tonight.
That's why we're doing it on Monday night, yeah. Keith, Rautism, hey, fellas, congrats on the antenna. Thank you very much for that. Nudes, again, hi, guys. Congrats on the win. So there's a lot of that coming through as well. And here we go. Dave Van Pelt, our good friend from Acolyte, he's saying massive congrats on the award, legend. So thank you very much for the kind words and the support all around on that one. We'll do the rounds. So how are you going this week, Dave? We all had fun on Saturday, but how have you pulled up and how's it all going?
Yeah, Sunday was a bit of a struggle. I just had a really lazy day, just flaked out most of it. Didn't do very much at all. Watched the movie with Julia last night, old classic one, On the Waterfront, Marlon Brando. Okay. I haven't seen that in years. It's pretty good. And today, kids are on school holidays, so I spent most of the day just hanging out with them, watching SpongeBob and trying to keep them entertained. They couldn't go outside because the weather's shit today. It's freezing and windy. So apart from that, did a couple of reviews for this and got to hit the naughty corner because I didn't get Carcass done. But apart from that, I haven't been in the naughty corner for a while, so I think I deserve it after Saturday.
Cool. How about you, Tim?
Well, right now I'm a little ticked off because my fucking charger won't plug in. But apart from that, just cruising along, doing what I can.
Yep.
Yeah. As we can, locked out and locked up. Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Nothing much to complain about. Sunday was not the most productive day in the world, but it wasn't terrible either. I did pull up okay. So that was fun. And then today just back to work again. Got the days off are over, so now it's back into the grind. And as you do, just keep on keeping on. And in the process of all this, I'm editing up the Van Halen special for next weekend. So that's keeping me very, very busy outside of doing what we do. Yeah, but no, life is good. Jody's currently watching for updates on the construction industry because that's being shut down, it looks like. And so she's going to be hitting the refresh button a lot tonight to find out what's happening with her sector of work. But besides all that, everything's good. And even that's not the end of the world for us personally because everything's under control. So we're doing a lot better than others out there. So we're all good here. Everything's good and keeping on. Rock and Volts have jumped in to say, hey, lads, good to see you here. He's gone, that award is sexy shot offside screen. Well, another time, it'll be on here prevalently on the set at some stage in the future. Tuss said, I was dumb enough to go jogging in that weather. I must be insane. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. Fuck that for a joke. Melbourne has gone nuts as always, and it was actually not too bad. It was pretty warm this morning, and now it's fucking Arctic out here tonight. It was bloody freezing and wet. So,
It's only just stopped, like absolutely pissing here.
Not too bad for me. It's coming in waves when it has rained. It's belted down to the point where it's fucking horizontal and hitting the windows, which is just nuts.
Yeah.
But what's it like where you are, Dave?
No, it's freezing. The wind all day, and at the moment, there's no wind, but it's still freezing cold out there.
Yeah, no, it ain't warm. It's fucking cold. It was funny because we were here Saturday night and we were all sort of chilled in that, and now it was really actually not bad weather. It was actually pretty good drinking weather on the night, and then now it's like fucking heater on, jacket, fucking the works. Is what it is. All right. Let's get into the catching up with some hard rock happenings kind of thing tonight. And I guess the first cab off the rank for this is one that's not relatively new. It's probably a week or more old now, but at the same time, it has happened a few times of late, and it's a bit of an interesting one. And this is where internal band chats are being leaked now to the general public, and it's causing quite a bit of a fuss. I know that Ailstorm got caught up in this. There was another band as well. You guys might know better than that one off the top of your head. What the other band was that really got a lot of publicity for it. Does that? No, there's another one. There's been a few of these kicking around. So, it's an interesting one, that. And just basically, what do we think of band chats being released when it comes down to things like, there's obviously certain conversations that lack complete context to the outside world. But yeah, let's go to you first, Dave.
You have to wonder how this gets out, because it could be a couple of things. One, someone's left their phone around and a friend or a family member has found it, in which case you'd be choosing your friend and family members. We can't choose your family, even so. But, nothing that you put online is 100% safe, secure, and private. So, one, you've got to be careful what you're saying to start with. And two, you shouldn't be leaving your phone where someone can just grab it. Or someone from the band's taken a screenshot and shared it with somebody, in which case, one person shares it with someone, says don't tell anyone, but they're going to tell somebody. It snowballs pretty quickly. Or three, someone in the band has taken, thinking this guy's an arsehole, I don't want to work with him anymore, and shared it themselves anonymously, which is a bad way to go about things, because if you got an issue, handle it in private so you don't air your dirty laundry, because it damages the brand anyway. So you just, if you're going to part ways with someone because you don't agree with their beliefs or humor or whatever, just say we're parting ways with this member and, to the personal reasons. So I'm not sure how this stuff is getting out there, but certainly puts a different light into people. And I don't know where it's coming from, but it seems to be happening a lot recently. So, but you kind of find what people are made of when this stuff gets out. So look at David Ellison.
Yeah, well, what about you, Tim? Where have you landed on this sort of an idea?
Well, I'd be shocked if it was anybody else. I'm pretty sure these are coming from people within the band. Right, and there's a lot of ways to look at this. I mean, it's definitely pushing the nuclear button, which is how I'm looking at it. I don't think, because the only one I've really seen is the Ailstorm one, and without knowing the dynamics of the band or anything like that, I mean, I would assume, from the reaction that was in the screenshot, some things are said rather often, and some people are like, "Hey, dude, calm down with that."
Yeah,
and things don't ever calm down. Eventually, somebody just went, "Fuck it." But like I said, because it did feel like a nuclear option. Having said that, I mean, look, we're in a chat.
Yeah,
all of us. And I mean, and I'm in a chat with Orange. I'm in a chat with Saints, and and I kind of think, how would I react to this? Had you said something stupid one night, and it come out, and you'd be a little disappointed.
Yeah, more than a little, I think.
Yeah, you would, because you kind of. But at the same time, I suppose the key is you got to read your room and know and know your boundaries as well. Because I mean, I don't think this stuff gets shared if the people in the chat have no problem with it.
Yeah.
I would like to think, you know, your friends or your colleagues respect you enough to pull your head in when you need to have your head pulled in sometimes. Because I mean, we're all, none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know. I could go either way on it. It's a case by case basis. This one, I think. Yeah, because it was like yeah.
I do take it from the point of view that if anyone's personal chat or text or whatever history from over the years got out, that's a bit of a kind of a low blow in a lot of respects, because it's really not meant for that level of things, and the context is always lost. That doesn't mean that everything ever said is always kosher or perfect or good, or it doesn't need to be called out in some way, shape, or form. But there's a way to do it. It should be done amongst those that are within the group, not sharing it and airing bad laundry. Like you said, it's a nuclear option, and I don't really think it accomplishes a whole lot at the end of the day, apart from put everyone in the group under pressure. Because it'll show you what you're made of as a group right quick, because you'll either band together or it'll completely tear you apart. Take your pick. There's not a lot of middle ground left when certain things come out. But again, like I said, it's always, I know that some things are really bad in general, but context actually really does matter, because you're usually seeing one screenshot of a conversation that's probably been going for a fucking good few hours before that point in time. These can be references that go back days in some context if you've got a really good banter going back and forth. So, yeah, the context does really matter in this one, and I do think it does need to be taken on individual merits. And I think that's where it comes down to actions more than words being where people should be judged in the public eye, so to speak. It shouldn't be just words. It's, what you do around it too. Because, words are way too... lost in translation isn't is a saying for a reason kind of a thing. So I think that happens a lot in this context as well. The old sarcasm doesn't come across on the written word at all kind of thing. You need a separate font to identify when it's happening in a chat or on Twitter or it's Facebook or whatever else have you. So it's a different one. Yeah, if you're not in the room, it's hard to get a read on it. And for those in the room, you'd rather have it like we've all got a good bond with each other. And even if we've disagreed, which don't get me wrong, that happens. We all know we're all grown-ups. But no one's gone down that path at all. And if anyone did that, I'd be very, very disappointed, because it's not that there's anything, oh my God, terrible in there, but it's just, you know what I mean?
It's like, it's like with your friends, there's a level of trust there.
I think it speaks pretty poorly to just one or more individuals if that breach of trust is taken that far.
Like I said, I think this is a when this sort of thing happens, it's not a well, it probably is a spur of the moment thing, but it's also
it's been coming for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. The nuclear option is an interesting one. I don't necessarily agree with it. We've got some comments here. I'll go to those.
This is like when you type your boss an angry text message and then you delete it.
Yes.
and they press send.
Yeah, exactly. This is the old instead or the email you can't pull back. That's it's one of those ones, unfortunately. But all right, what do we got here? So Tough jumped in, and this is where I think a lot of people will land on this, the outside audience. It's kind of stalking. I don't care what Judas Priest is talking about, as long as I put out good music, and that's going to be a pretty common theme, I think, in a lot of cases. It's like footage of footy players having their own parties, like I don't give a crap. Yeah, the blow-up about the Western Bulldogs having a celebration after the game the other day was fucking nonsense. And he's gone, listen to the outside conversation will always be taken out of context. Should I be locked up in a lunatic farm for the silly shit I sent up to others? And that's...
Oh, yeah, I think a lot of us would be.
Me too.
Yeah, that's all of us there. To change tack briefly here, Tony's joined us on Facebook and said, hey, lads, congrats on the win. Yep, can confirm was bloody freezing today, was out in that rubbish. Yeah, well, good luck to you in that. It's not great out there. Sally's gone, it's way too cold. And Lee said, I went for a 20-kilometre trail run at Plenty Gorge today. Weather made it more enjoyable. You're a braver man than I am. I'll put it. What else we got here? Steve says, fuck, terrible poison, pretty boy Floyd, fucking dreadful shite, all hell, Satan. Good to have you here. I'm not sure.
Pretty boy Floyd. I haven't seen that one in a while.
No. So just quickly, Glory Hammer got busted big time. That's the other band that I was thinking of, and that's where it all kicked off from. But yeah, MC Cursor was basically saying, Triple J, don't play my songs now because you didn't support me at all when I was up and coming. And we had a bit of a chat about this behind the scenes. So Tim, let's lead off with you because you found it, and yeah, just give us your thoughts.
Oh, look, the reason why I thought it was interesting is because, like, I'm really not into the Australian hip hop scene, but I do know a few people who are, and like that MC Curse has been around for a long time now, and like I've seen his albums in, you know, JB and stuff, and he's got a fairly decent, you know, shelf space, so he must sell something. And I mean, I've seen his name around. I know he does some touring here and there, plays some decent sized rooms. But I did find it interesting that Triple J never really played him because he's been around for a good decade or so.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is that because we always look at Triple J from a rock and roll perspective and a hard rock perspective, that, well, the reason Triple J is not playing our kind of music is because our kind of music's not, you know, quote unquote top 40 anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas Curse's music very much is. And even then, Triple J is still nitpicking what does get played and what doesn't get played, you know, and who plays the game and who doesn't play the game, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So I found that really interesting that even from outside our world, and that maybe it's got nothing to do with whether or not our music's selling or not. It's just whether or not, you know, the big bloke at the top is getting his ass kissed.
Yeah, it's very possible.
So that's what I found interesting about it.
Right, you, Dave, you've been a part of us for a while, and you've had as many rants about radio in this country as anyone has. So what do you think?
Yeah, I've given up on radio. They're hopeless and useless. But, you know, that's just the way of the world now. I mean, I don't think anyone under the age of 25 even listens to radio willingly, possibly at work, and they don't get to control what station it's on. So, you know, the younger generation will find music through whatever streaming service they're on or video games that they're listening to. So whatever's played on radio is decided by the top brass in whatever station it is. But, you know, our world is rock and metal and rap is on Triple J. But I'm sure it's the same for like blues, country, whatever genre is out there. There are avenues and radio stations that still play that. And I'm sure there's younger artists trying to break into that. And it's all very selective. But, you know, I don't think that radio really means all that much anymore if you want to get your music out there. There are multiple other avenues to explore these days, so I don't think that makes a difference. But I've read the article with this guy. I've never heard of him before. Well, I can tell it was a listener that requested they play his song, so whatever history he's had with the station not playing him, you know, at least they were listening to the audience request and they fulfilled that. So I guess that's kind of cool. But, you know, it kind of works in his benefit anyway because I've never heard of this guy. And, you know, by kicking up this whole thing afterwards and it hit the music media, no, now I've heard of it. You know, and I never would. Yeah, so it's done its job in a way. But yeah, I can understand why he might be frustrated if they weren't playing him before. But yeah, like I said, you know, it's a different world these days, and every genre exists to a degree, and everyone's trying to play what they love. There's more content than ever before, so everyone's got to find ways of getting it out there. So you can't really pick and choose. You know, if somebody doesn't want to play your music, someone doesn't want to listen to it. Yeah, just is. But yeah, like I said, it did its job. Now I've heard of this guy. The whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it's the old controversy creates cash argument, isn't it? You kick it up of a fuss and off you go. I think it's interesting to me watching Triple J try and chase the dragon, so to speak, for lack of a better term. They like to try and find what's the pulse, what's coming up next, where I think that if you look at their mandate and the funding, the fact that it's taxpayer funded, they don't have to rely on advertising revenue, all those things, it should never be about that for them at all. Ratings should never matter to that station, and I'd be appalled if they did find that to be something important to them because they have guaranteed funding, which gives them a platform that they should be trying to promote everyone equally as much as they can. Now, there is going to be some cutoff to that, obviously, but I do find it interesting that it's been a long complaint of ours for a long time between many radio stations, but there are two notable ones, but this is one of them. and now it's crossing into other genres as well, because I don't think he's the only one in that circle that I've been complaining about them either. So it's an interesting one in that regard, and I do wonder what the decision-making is behind the scenes in that regard. But at the same time, it's not really all that important because Dave's right too. Everyone's finding music in other ways. Everyone I spoke to when I was working with a bunch of kids, And I say kids when they're like 19, 20. They were all finding music from things like either Twitch or video games
TikTok.
or
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok's a big one now.
Well,
TikTok's huge. TikTok is generating #1 hits, and so that's a different conversation entirely. Those things are where it's all sort of leading to. I think, we've got some comments here about community radio. I'll get to that in a second, but those things will be always important, I think, and that's the same way with community television for us and whatever else have you. But it's just really interesting to get different people upset by it, but at the same time, people using Spotify, YouTube, and like we were saying, TikTok, Twitch, all the other stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how much longevity these platforms all have. Like, we're already seeing the demise of traditional television, so we'll soon see that one fade out into obscurity, and it'll be the same thing with radio, but it'll take longer. Yeah.
I did find it funny because Triple J got in trouble a few weeks ago, or created a little thing a few weeks ago when they put a tweet out saying, did it hurt when you outgrew a youth radio station? And it's like,
Ooh.
there's been so many studies over the last few years that show like Triple J's average listenership is like mid-30s.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've got an 18-year-old sister, and she doesn't listen to radio.
No.
I don't think she's even got a radio.
Yeah.
But I do know one person who listens to Triple J, and it was my auntie, who's in that age bracket where they listen to Triple J in the 90s and just never changed the dial.
Well, there you go.
And I suspect that's the majority of the Triple J's audience.
I reckon.
It is interesting. The demographic is certainly shifted. When it used to be when I was teaching guitar and that fucking 20 years ago, whatever it is now, they were like you get people, and there's some comments here too that I've got coming through. I'll get some comments in a second, but that they were it'd be the whole thing where they'd go, okay, here's my band, here's a single, fucking text the station, request to get played, and there was a huge thing about that for ages. And so I think that Triple J are eventually going to go the way to Dodo, but I think at the same time, or it'll move into digital space, like it'll be a part of your television, for example. You'll plug it into an app as a TV, like a TV radio thing. They've got that on your smart TVs, and you put it on the background of your housework kind of thing, maybe that. But at the same time, the alternative is a Spotify playlist or Spotify radio. You're probably going to go to that because you're going to get more guaranteed to get things you like. So, I think they're on a hiding to nothing either way. But it was just interesting to see how much the people from back then, where it used to be the text message to get the song played, they're the people that are still there, and they're trying to sort of, and cutting out a youth market is kind of dumb, but we'll see what happens. Paying out of themselves is a really silly move, but hey, what do we do? It's funny, here we got StormSinker. We're going to talk about you guys in a minute.
Nice.
But they're saying our band was #1 in Triple J charts. Now, I respect that, and you've got some great plays on your Spotify streams too, so well done on all those fronts. But I am curious if being #1 on their charts translated to actual airplay on the radio station. That'd be something I would like to have.
Yeah, my first band was getting to like 6 on the overall charts.
Yeah,
and didn't get touched. So
yeah, that's
it just depends on whether or not they like you or not.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Quick, complete segue before I do move on further behind this one. Beck Ray Smith, a good friend of ours. Good to see you here. She's jumped on Facebook. So, how about the new single from Electric Mary? King of Rock and Roll is out now. I honestly haven't had a chance to sit down and check it out yet. My apologies on that front. But everything they've done has been fucking fantastic. So I'm sure it's going to be as good as anything else. And it is one of those ones I do want to check out this week. Anyone else heard it?
Headstone as well, actually.
No. Sorry, it's been a very busy week on this side of things. Our apologies. Steve's gone. We used to listen to community radio for the music we could never get anywhere, like metal and the like. That's where we got some music. Something like this show, Triple J, a commercial, and like commercials, something like us, sorry. Triple J, like commercial stations, clueless, yes. Definitely agree with you that. Tough says they'll go the way of LimeWire and MySpace. That's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Steve said the old Kerrang Metal Forces, Metal Hammer, and later Hot Metal. Yeah, that's another way to find things as well, the old magazines. Yeah. Andrew Marshall, good friend of ours. Thank you for joining us, mate. Good to see you here again on a Monday. I've had a number of musician friends try to get support through voting on Triple J, which is where that was there as well. Sally's come in with the the one here. It's 3 Triple R with Alan Thomas. You have to be old to know it. Yes, I think a few of us know that one. Behind the scenes. All right. Cool. We have one more little bit of gossip to get through. It's not really gossip. This one's actually an interesting little tidbit. Another one Tim brought to us. So I'll go to you first with this one as well. This is about Iron Maiden using, and it's funny how we're talking about Spotify and digital radio and stuff just now, but we're going to go back to old school here because Iron Maiden have actually managed to utilize CDs in their ability to bump up the charts. Their highest debut position of a record, I think, is something like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a that's what they've achieved.
Highest opening week.
Yeah.
Position.
So, Tim, you found it. Explain a bit more and what you found fascinating about it.
Yeah, so it's basically, there's an article from, it was through Yahoo. It was from like some business website about how Iron Maiden used CD and vinyl sales to get their highest opening chart position week in the US ever. And with relatively low Spotify plays. And I mean, we looked it up the other night. They're getting 8.5 million individual listens a month. And that's with a new album out 2 weeks ago, which means it's probably inflated by double, if not triple.
Yep.
And there's 8.5 million a month. If you go look at, I don't know, pick some random shithead, Kanye West, he's probably got 200 million. Which is what makes it so incredible. But what I think is important about this, look, the world is going the way of streaming, and a lot of people use, like, I don't have a CD player, I don't have a vinyl player. I've got no, like, buying an album for me is useless because I can't play it anywhere. However, that doesn't apply to all of Iron Maiden's demographic. Their demographic is generally in that older market, and there's people who do still own CD players and vinyl players. So I think this is a lesson for everybody, is that even though the trend is going one way, it's still worth knowing your audience and investing in your audience and going to where your specific audience is. Just because the majority of the audience is going one way, that doesn't mean the paying customer for your specific product is entirely in that market. If you're an older band looking towards that CD and flooding the Facebook shops and the things like that, because we all saw, just the delivery in the mail that week that album came out. It was insane. The amount of people were posting with the cool cover and all that stuff. I think, that was a genius masterstroke of advertising for Iron Maiden, and I think it's a well-deserved position, regardless of the thoughts on the album.
Yep.
So they've done incredibly well with that. So, yeah.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, right band, knowing their demographic. I mean, I follow Maiden on Spotify for convenience. I'll just make my own playlist and put them on for a party or whatever. But if I'm going to listen to a Maiden album, I'll get the CDs or the vinyl out. That's just because it's one of those bands I grew up with. And, it's not just the band. Maiden are one of those bands that you collect the T-shirts, the posters, the artwork, the imagery. It's all part of the package. So Maiden know what their audience like. And if I'm getting the Maiden album out, I want the artwork to look at. It's cool. I want to show my kids. My kids like it too. But like Tim said, the bands with the older bands know their demographic, and Metallica, I think, had the same thing with Hardwired. They sold a lot of actual physical units. And when I was reading that article, I think they hit number 3 on Billboard, and 90% of that was from physical media, which in this day and age is an amazing feat. Personally though, if I like a young band, I'm hitting discos now just to find CDs because you can't get them in JD Hi-Fi. I'm a big Wednesday 13 fan. I can't find these CDs. I buy them online from wherever I can track them down. So, even younger bands, a lot of bands aren't releasing CDs these days. I prefer physical product. So, a band like Maiden, you hear they're going to release an album, the pre-orders will just, as soon as they announce the release date, bang, they're going to have most of their physical sales that way. Because people just, it's a different time. So I thought it's actually validating for me because I prefer physical media. So when you hear something like this, it's like, I thought Dinosaur's way of doing things isn't completely dead yet. But I can rejoice for a day.
Yep. No, enjoy it. I actually give full credit to Iron Maiden for just knowing their audience. And they've done this before. They've used things like locations or streams to work out where to tour and what cities to hit and that sort of stuff. They're very, very switched on with all that sort of stuff going on, which is fantastic. I do really think they're one of the best at knowing their audience and how to get to them. Like we talked about how well it was promoted leading up to it. It was like an old school pay-per-view promo the way they did. Very smart. I think it's a bit of a buck of the trend, to be honest. I think that a lot of people, like, I'm wondering how many Iron Maiden hits are being done on TikTok versus on, physical sales being moved and stuff, just as a curiosity point. But I think it's really, really smart. It does show, ultimately, once and for all, that there is still definitely a market for physical sales. And that's why I think we're seeing the vinyl resurgence is being so strong. It's good to have the CD sales moving along, but that's why I think vinyl is outstripping, because the people that are definitely into the tactile product are leaning more into vinyl because you get more bang for buck, so to speak. But again, it does show the lesson that there's a lot to be gained from having, singles and albums as physical forms. Like the old cassettes are coming back in vogue a little bit here and there as well. They're seeing actually more and more of that. I think the new Carcass album is actually on a cassette. I think there's a release of that on cassette. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing it somewhere. So it's a really interesting time, and nothing is actually. I would not be surprised at this point in time if someone does bring out an 8-track just for shits and giggles. I wouldn't be at all surprised someone finds a way to do that. It'd be just one of those things.
It'd be like Bon Iver or some hipster band.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be King Gizzard will probably find a way to do it. But but
buy
that's
the album
but
with a free 8-track player.
Yeah, that will send a band bankrupt pretty fucking quick, I think. But so it's just an interesting one in that regard. That we're finding this weird world at the moment where the digital and the physical are crossing over. I still think digital will eventually outstrip the physical side of things, but it's good to see at the same time that, like, as an offshoot to this one, I'm noticing a lot of the major bands that are signing to big labels like Napalm and Nuclear Blast and all sorts of stuff, they're still able to get stuff out through Bandcamp. So even the major labels are recognizing that Bandcamp is an important facet of this, and getting stuff to the audience's hands is probably much more easily achieved through that method. So it is definitely a thing. I'm not sure about the old sticking it in supermarket shelves. You have to be a big band like Iron Maiden or Metallica to pull that off, but it does show there's definitely a life for that. Yes, Tim?
The new Carcass album is on cassette.
Okay. There you go. So it's something a bit different there for everyone as well. So whatever you want, you'll find a way to get it. That's the lesson here. And I think that, the bands that are smart about this are going to really make it worth their while to do it as well. All right, getting a few comments here, which is cool. What do we got here? Going back to the Triple J stuff, another friend who switched from pop punk to electro pop hit #1 on the iTunes dance charts. Okay, well, that's cool. Well done to him. Not our world, but well done to him. Steve's gone vinyl, and that's where I think a lot of people are getting into the physical side of things. StormSinker said we are releasing CDs soon. Very, very cool. We are getting to the EP review in a few minutes. Andrew again says, my 23-year-old son enjoys the process of putting on a vinyl album to listen. That's actually fucking great to hear. I think there is something about that ritual. I think that ritual is really, really important. And he, on the flip side, he's also said my 29-year-old nephew is big into vinyl as well. So it is definitely... It's cool to see it becoming a younger market, if that makes sense as well. Tuff says there is a sense of belonging and contributing to the band when buying an old school form of music. There is also a dude on this site that does cassette tapes for his 80s style music. So there you go. All of it out there. But then this is the other problem too. Steve's gone, all these platforms are marketing headache, and that's the flip side of it.
That's the key.
That's the key. It is a lot of work. And we got a couple of comments here in rapid fire. Nudes on Facebook said Cheap Trick released an 8-track a few years ago just so they could say they had a #1 hit album. And Will on YouTube, thank you for joining us. I think it's the first time for you, if I'm correct. Otherwise, I'm wrong, and I'm apologizing. But good to see you here. I think Cheap Trick released their last album on 8-track. So there you go. That was a thing. I do remember that now. But yeah, that was it. It is definitely a thing to do this sort of stuff. All right. Let's have some fun now. These ones are always interesting. We're going to do a draft. Now, for those who didn't see the last one, I haven't actually released as a standalone bit of content. I've done the graphics for that yet. It will come in the near future. But this one here, the rules of this are simple. We're treating what we're doing now like a draft. So, in your sports, when a player is off the board, that's it. It's gone. So, in this context, when a band is mentioned, the rest of us can't mention that band in the process. And the idea here is to draft 5 albums that are the shittest albums from bands that, generally speaking, have a very good, strong catalogue of work. There'll be some that jump straight to mind for a lot of people there, so feel free to get in the comments and let us know what you would pick as your #1 hit album from an otherwise great band. Let us know what it is in the comments. But the idea here is that I've done a draft order. It'll change from round to round. We'll have 5 rounds of this, and this is basically a competition between us to see who can piss off the audience the most with coming up with the shittest list of albums. That's basically the long and the short of it. Any questions on that one, guys? Have I explained that clearly enough?
Yep, all good.
All right, cool. So we have 5 rounds to go through, 1 pick each. When a band is gone, it's off the board, can't be mentioned again. Here we go. So, Dave, you have the floor with pick 1, round 1.
Cool. And I'm going with Van Halen, Diver Down. I think that album is fucking terrible.
Jesus, I did not think that would go number 1. All right, well, fuck me. You've just given me a free pass. This is like the number 1 pick just slipping right through. I'm going to go Metallica, Lulu. That's got to be the number 1 pick here. That has to be. All right, so Tim, you get the last pick of the round.
I do. I'll go with Virtual 11 by Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I figured this would be one of the ones that gets out of there as well. So
yeah,
for those,
I had that one.
Yeah, so did I. That's the fun part of all this one. But the best part for Tim is that he also gets the first vote or the first pick in round 2. So what have you got?
Another bad album, Forbidden by Black Sabbath.
Okay, yep. Sorry, for those that are playing along at home, I'm trying to make notes as I go through. Otherwise, it's way too hard to keep up with this shit. Dave, you got the next pick, though. So what's up to you now?
Megadeth, Risk.
Yeah, that's an early one as well.
Let me cross that off the list.
Yep. There's a few going on mine as well. All right. Now you got to make sure you pick things. All right, I'm going to go with... What am I going to do here? I'm going to take Guns N' Roses off the board with the spaghetti incident, believe it or not. So that's what I think is the one that has to go. Dave is... Hey?
Oh, I'm expecting Chinese democracy, but fuck.
No, man. It's horrible.
It's great. No.
And I get to do it. Yeah. Try to calm down. I get to do a back-to-back pick because I get the first pick of round 3. This is all drawn out randomly before. I did film it, so if anyone has any doubts about this, I can play you the footage later on. But my next pick is actually going to be AC/DC, Fly on the Wall.
Oh. No.
I wasn't expecting Fly on the Wall.
Yep. All right. Tim.
Now, it pains me to do this because I generally don't consider this as part of the band's discography. Okay. But lately, some people keep trying to sneak it in, and it pisses me off. And this is Metal Magic by Pantera.
Yeah, so I was wondering where that would go.
This album is not a Pantera album.
Not bad.
Yeah, the first album is Cowboys from Hell. Let's just be clear.
Yes, I agree, but there is that whole thing where they tear down vocals.
Not a history.
That's just people who got addicted to the smell of hairspray. Doesn't count.
Oh, man. You don't need a hairspray, man. It just fucking...
Yeah, my hair just grows out there naturally. It's funny, though. Everybody with curly hair keeps trying to straighten it. Everybody with straight hair just tries to curl it up. It's funny how that works.
I've given up on it all, mate. I don't give a fuck what my hair does anymore. I don't even cut it.
I tried to tease my hair up when I went to see Motley, but it just went out.
I want photos, Dave. I want photos of that.
I'll find them.
Oh, good. I want them. All right. Speaking of people that are addicted to hairspray, Dave, it's your pick next.
Beautiful. Kiss, Carnival of Souls.
Ah, okay.
They are way too good to be doing a grunge album.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we have 2 rounds to go, which means 2 picks each left. That's all we've got coming for us. I'm going to go with one that I've got to take it. Rob Halford. Halford 3 Winter Songs. That is so goddamn bad. That has to go. So that's one of mine off the board there. So Tim, now it's your pick.
Evolution by Disturbed.
Ooh, okay. Really?
No, this was a band that had a hit single that was a ballad and then just threw ballads at the wall.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
It's
Cool.
a terrible album.
All righty. Dave, over to you now.
Yeah, this one pains me, but it has to go. Dream Theater, The Astonishing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you'd go there. All right.
Fair enough.
Bad album.
Yep. That is definitely worth paying there. I'll completely agree with that. All right, everyone ready for the last round?
Mm-hmm.
All right, our final picks. I get to go first in this one. The draft order for the final round is myself, then Dave, then Tim. I've got to pick. What do I want? All right, I'm going to go with Halloween and Chameleon.
Oh, I forgot about that one. So bad. I love that one.
We're trying to pick a collection of really shit albums here, so this is the fun part. That had to be in there. I've got a few other ones on my list that that's my last pick. So I'm happy I got the 5 I got, actually. That's pretty cool. But Dave, it's your turn now.
Yeah, this one disappointed me because this is a newer band that I absolutely love, and they had a lineup change before this was released. Santa Cruz, Catharsis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, Tim, bring it home.
This is hard. I should have said. We should have left the albums on the table. Made it much easier. Look, you can question. Look, by the realm of this show, they're a niche band, well, they're not really a niche band, but not everybody likes this band.
Yep.
But I think you can all agree that Hesitation Marks by Nine Inch Nails just fucking sucks.
Yeah, I was going to go there, but that was not a great one.
When you're nearly 50, you can't name an album after cutting your wrist.
No, not really, not anymore. Especially not if he's had as much success as he's had as well. That's a bit of a there.
Yeah, like he's past the drug addict stage. He's successful. He's married. He's Hesitation Marks. Fuck off.
We've got a few comments. I'll get to those in a second, but just quickly to recap. Dave, you picked Van Halen, Diver Down, Megadeth, Risk, Kiss, Carnival of Souls, Dream Theater, The Astonishing, and Santa Cruz, Catharsis.
Yep.
Tim picked Iron Maiden, Virtual 11, Black Sabbath, Forbidden, Pantera, Metal Magic, Disturbed Evolution, and Nine Inch Nails, Hesitation Marks. And myself, I got Metallica, Lulu, Guns N' Roses, Spaghetti Incident, AC/DC, Fly on the Wall, Rob Halford, Winter Songs, and Halloween, Chameleon. There's one in here that I was going to put in there as well if we got an extra round, but we haven't. But I did have a nod to Metal Church, Masterpiece as well, Dave. That was another one that was on that list.
Oh, yeah, that's
So let us know out there if you're paying attention to whose list you think is the worst. Otherwise, I'll do this one as a little bit of standalone content later on. But let's go to some comments here because this has been fun watching this one because I have to have my list up. I can't see the comments until now. So Sally, obviously, first come off the rank. Lulu, that was always going to get done. Lee McDonald says Megadeth, Risk, so we're getting some good ones here. Darren Humphreys, Motley Crue, Generation Swine. We'll find out in November because we're doing a Motley Crue special then. Tough says Nickelback, their latest album with no one listens to them. I guess I'm out. Lol. Actually, I did have a Nickelback album on there with no fixed address. That was mine. If I was going to go down that path. Sumaleth put Queensryche. Here in the new Now Frontier.
I had that on my list. I didn't get to it, but yeah, that's on my list. That is.
I've got a worse one. I've got a worse one under the Queensryche name, Frequency Unknown, the Jeff Tate one. That's a shit show album. That's horrible. Aaron Matthews, thanks for joining us. He's gone Machine Head Supercharger.
Agreed. That album sucks.
There we go. What else we got here? Pick number 2 for Sumaleth. Mike Patton, Pranzo Old Transistor. I haven't listened to that one personally, so I don't really know. Apparently, I'm getting some heat for the for the Guns N' Roses one there, so we'll get to that from Nude. Doomaless said pick 3 when Dream and Day unite by Dream Theater, so there's a different one there. Lee says Aerosmith Just Push Play, so there we go. What else? So here we go. Sumalith also says Operation Mindcrime 2 by Queensryche. Nude says any Bon Jovi after 92, which is pretty.
Eddie Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I was waiting for that reference. Sumalith said Astonishing was number 5. Fucking hairbands punching holes in the ozone for years. That's Steve saying that one. A couple of references to Dirt Alice in Chains, but I think StormSinker was saying it's the best album, and I would agree with that one. So just to piss off Dave some more, number 5, because he couldn't have the other one, he got on the Metal Opera Part 2 by Avantasia. I think we are breaking Dave's heart tonight. This is the whole thing in The Simpsons where you can see Ralph Wiggum's heart break. That's Dave tonight. People are going to freeze frame this shit and watch you.
No, I showed up ready to defend Chinese democracy, and you went with spaghetti incident. I had the rug completely.
Yeah, I was expecting Chinese democracy to go.
No, I really. At least it has something interesting about it. Spaghetti incident.
That's the thing. I would have gone with Saint Anger over Lulu personally.
Ouch.
No, there are some tracks on Saint Anger that I like.
I agree, and Lulu is worse, but I can see how Lulu got made.
Yeah, I get it. Another comment here. Neil's gone Leader Ford, Wicked Wonderland, bloody awful. Okay, Jody might hate you for that one. Jody's a big fan of Leader Ford, so we're hurting everyone's.
That fucking Nita Strauss solo album.
Oh, there we go. There's shots fired because I know Dave loved that one.
Right.
That was straight in the bin. That was one of the worst albums I've ever heard.
What was that? The one that what's going to really break Dave's heart is the one that we did. Had the vocalist we reviewed. Annette Olsen was the vocalist.
Dark Element.
The Dark Element, the first one, the first album of that was bad.
Not sure I've heard
it. We had a lot of fun with that review. Sally reckons my list wins, which we'll take that for a beginning point there. And Tim not cool from Nudes. And Tuff says Forever Free by Wasp. All right, contentious. But yeah, just a quick recap. You can let us know who you think's got the worst list or the one that pisses you off the most kind of thing. So Dave has Van Halen Diver Down, Megadeth Risk, Kiss Carnival of Souls, Dream Theater The Astonishing, and Santa Cruz Catharsis. Tim chose Iron Maiden Virtual 11, Black Sabbath Forbidden, Pantera Metal Magic, Disturbed Evolution, and Nine Inch Nails Hesitation Marks. And mine was Metallica Lulu, Guns N' Roses Spaghetti Incident, AC/DC Fly on the Wall, Rob Halford Winter Songs, and Halloween Chameleon. So the idea here was to find the worst collection of albums. So let us know whose wins. Okay, we've got another one here. Dave for the win. All right, cool. There we go. So, Tim, we just need one for you, and then we'll be all around equal. But okay, time to get onto the fun part of the night. Let's get into the reviews. We've done that one. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that little segment there. We'll do more of those little drafts as we go along. It's a new little segment we're having some fun with. But first, cab off the rank in the reviews. Got 3 to get through tonight. StormSinker. They're a local band. In the comments and in the description or the post, you can find a reference track. The reference track is Silence After the Mode. So band is StormSinker. Track is Silence After the Mode. In case you can't find a link, look at that for your reference track. So here we go. First review for the night is StormSinker with Quivering Hourglass. 4 tracks, 20 minutes. The debut EP from the Melbourne band, released May 2021 independently, produced by Michael Gontier at Shred Studios. 1 single has been released in the Silence After the Mode. This looks primarily to be the product of George Adam on guitar, and vocals were brought in by Marcus Astamoinen. And for a band with not a lot of social media following, they've actually got a lot of plays, like tens of thousands of players on Spotify. So congratulations on that alone. Well done. Let's go to you first, Tim, on this one.
Yeah, I thought this was good. There was a lot to like about this. I thought the songs overall were really well put together. I thought there was some good riffs over there, there's good vocals as well. I thought, actually, on that as well, the guitar tone for the guitar solos was fucking stunning.
Yeah.
I thought, melodies were good. Songs were pretty well written. I think if I had any criticism, I would have tried to add a little bit more, some more like points of difference between where the push and the pull and with the recording stuff. Like I would have liked to have seen some double tracking of guitars in the chorus and things like that. Yeah. But I mean, that's just me being picky. For the most part, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, and I thought it's a good showcase EP of what the band can do. It's kind of an alternative post grunge kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it's a good stepping stone for bigger and better things to come, which is hopefully we can hear soon. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Quivering Hourglass was my highlight, and I thought it was a good EP.
Nice. All right, Dave, what about you?
Yeah, first two things that got my attention with this was one, the guitar tone, nice, heavy and warm sound, and really suited to the songs. And two, there's a lot of groove. You're nodding your head along on the first listen. It's very easy to get into this. I like the vocal at the start of Silence of the Mode, where it's going and you just it grabs your attention and it goes straight into the first verse with the "Don't disturb me, you're not welcome." Well, that was very cool structure of the songwriting. As Tim mentioned, the guitar tone for the solos, that was fucking crazy. It reminded me of some stuff that Joe Satriani did in the mid 2000s on some of his albums. And at times, I think I'm hearing a wah pedal, but and then I had to second guess myself, like, is it really there? Because it could be just the picking that he's doing. But I think there is a wah on there. But it's very subtly used. It's not just rocking back and forth. It's used to add to the dynamic of the solos. And I thought that was very cool. It's just the one in Forbidden Edge. I like how that solo was structured. It started off with just some bends, and then it develops into some longer licks, and then there's moments of shredding towards the end, all while staying very melodic and fitting the song perfectly. I really like that. That really stood out for me. The lyrics have a lot of thoughts in them as well. Because the delivery is kind of paced and drawn out. It's not like speed sheet or anything, but it just draws the listener in. And you just listening to everything he's saying. And the singer's got a really good voice. I like the tone of his delivery, and it fits the music perfectly. I think the band has worked really hard on this release, and they've done a great job, and it really shows with what your final product is. And it's exactly what an EP should do. It's left me wanting more, and I'll be happy to listen to anything this band releases in the future, because they've certainly got my attention. Got to credit the artwork too. I thought that was really cool. It reminded me of the movie Glass, the M. Night Shyamalan movie with the shattered picture. Kind of reminded me of that. But overall, I gave it 8 out of 10. Silence After the Mode and Forbidden Picture, one of my standouts.
Okay, cool. Well, it's pretty much a 3 for 3 on par with each other here. Like when you go through the details of this, I made a note of having some Greek influence on this one. And it's got that sort of Mediterranean touch, along with a bit of a Middle Eastern kind of a flavor as well. I found some really cool different tones and I guess key change and that sort of stuff that the influence is being expressed on this musically were really interesting. It made this one, it's got that post-grunge feel, but there's a twist into it, which is really, really nice. I think that the opening title track really uses all that sort of stuff nicely that I just referenced there. And Marcus's vocals on this worked really nicely within that setting on this as well. As always, with Marcus, you get a great vocal performance and great lyrics from him as well. That's not a shock there, so it's really well done. What have I got here? After the Mode, it's a bit more direct, so it's a bit more of a grunge attack about it as well. Still got, like, this whole thing has loads of melody, which is not to be dismissed or ignored at all. But what I found really cool about that song in particular, even though it was a lot of melody and you still got Marcus's higher vocal, you actually got Marcus's lower vocal, a really sort of gravelly lower tone, which I haven't really heard Marcus use a lot of until I heard this one. I think fucking that worked really nicely on that song. I like how they build atmosphere on this one. It's interesting how busy the drums were, I thought. There's a lot of talk about the guitar, and it's well worth talking about that. But I thought the drumming and the way the hits we used, the patterns, the fills, they were really nicely done. This and added that bit of diversity, something a bit different about this band as well. It had a different flavor because of that. Again, the lead work is fantastic. That's been covered to death. I think the mix isn't overly polished, but it doesn't need to be for this sort of stuff. It's got a bit of a nice sort of a raw grit kind of a touch to it, which is actually nicely balanced in this one too. Might be missing a bit of thickness in the overall tone and sound of it, but that's not a bad thing at all. It's just a pretty good balance, just a minor point if you're going to think of one at all. I also thought that the changes to the rhythm and syncopation, well, I'm trying not to sneeze here for a second, the Forbidden Edge track has a bit of prog about it while still being a straightforward enough to fit what else is here kind of thing as well. Excuse me. Fucking hell, that's a first. This is where you can't retake things because you're going live. All right. Great performances across this one. I think they just need a little bit of tightening up on I think the songwriting's good. I just think it needed to be a little bit of a trimming here and there. It felt like some songs were just meandering a bit for the sake of it. It got a bit repetitive at points, but none of it was bad. It was just an observational point for me. If it was a bit leaner, fit another song on there, that'd be much more bang for buck. But at the same time, it's a very good EP. It's a very, very good start for them. I'm very, very curious to where they're going to go next. The title track alone is well and truly worth the price of entry, so go and check that out if nothing else. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I picked Quivering Hourglass and Forbidden Edge as my standouts on this one as well. So all in all, we tend to agree very nice on that, which is cool. Sally's been very nice and said, bless you. Thank you very much, Sally. For that. Just to scroll back through here, Tim, you got a nomination for the best list before, so there we go. But Andrew Marshall with the namesake saying that I get the one for the win there. So we'll see how it works out there. Gear, our good friend from Norway, saying hello again. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you here once again. Dean says, good EP from StormSinker. Enjoyed it. Guitar tone was really good. So that's going to be a lot of commentary there as well. Great artwork as well. What else? Tough says StormSinker. Silence sounds like me when I was 16 and angry at my parents for grounding me. Good times. Band seems pretty okay-ish, I think he's trying to say there. Tough saying there's something on your screen now, lol. Yeah, that's what happens when you sneeze live. All right. Just quickly before we move on, Dean, one for Dave. Did you hear Gunners are releasing another song soon? Any news there? Dave, you're the one that's all over the news when it comes to that band, so anything there to add?
Yeah, sounds like Hardcore will be coming along pretty soon. Apparently, Axel hung out with a fan recently, and he told her straight out that they will be dropping it soon. They've been doing it at rehearsal. There's a few videos circulating of Slash on his Instagram, actually, of them rehearsing Hardcore. And it was leaked last year, so they'll probably polish it up a bit from there, but it actually sounds really good. It's another one from the Chinese Democracy sessions back in 2000. So it could be polished up to sound with the same production as Absurd, which honestly I'd be disappointed because Absurd sounds much better live than the actual release. So hopefully they don't fuck this up. But if it's just a straight raw rock song like they're doing at rehearsals and like the track that leaked last year or the year before, then it should be pretty cool. Think Shadow of Your Love. It's a bit like that.
Okay. All right. See what happens. There we go. There's an update for everyone out there. Now we're going to move on to a band that we know and love that's a lot more recent than Guns N' Roses. So in the post, in the description, in the comments right now, you're going to get a reference track. The reference track is Alien, or the band is Alien Weaponry. The reference track itself is Hatupatu. I know I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, so I do apologize for that. That is your reference track for this one. So Alien Weaponry, Hatupatu is the one that you're referencing to for this album here. So here we go. This is Alien Weaponry with their second album, Tangaroa. 17 tracks for 83 minutes for the full edition, including 5 radio edits. Like I was saying, the second studio album from the New Zealand band, released September 2021 via Napalm Records. Produced by Hammerhead. At least 4 singles have been released, including the title track and Buried Underground, with Blinded Nahika being released previously as well. This comes after a lineup change on bass, with Ethan departing to be replaced by Turunga. The band caused quite a stir with their 2018 debut. We all loved it to bits. But let's see how we went with this one. And Dave, let's start with you.
Cool. Yeah, as soon as you chuck this on, you just get an unmistakable Alien Weaponry sound, and they've got a very unique way of delivering their music, and it grabbed everyone's attention a few years, and this album is a fantastic follow-up to that. These guys just know how to write killer riffs, and the guitar tone is fucking beautiful. And I like they must write things together as a band, because that drummer just knows the right place to accent things to add that extra impact to the riff. It's fucking beautiful. Yeah. And the vocals, they just have something special. This is just an amazing listen. And I think this time around, they've experimented a little bit more with dynamics, because there were some milder moments, but then when you get the heavy, it's got a lot more impact. So for a band, for guys that are still in their early 20s, you'd think that they just want to pile every bit of aggression, but they're really learning how to use the subtle, which gives the heavy a lot more impact, and it's very, very mature thing for such a young band to have. And I like how they use space to great effect in the composition. They have these moments of really, really fast riffing, and just that tiny brief moment of nothing, and then bang, it just hits you. Great use of wind instruments at the start of Ari Ka, and that mixes really nicely with the clean tone guitars. So I don't understand the Maori language at all, but that language barrier doesn't make these songs any less engaging. But I do. There's about half the album has English lyrics, and fuck, I got to really call out some attention to those, because some of them are some brutally honest stories and observations in there. The song "Dad" in particular, I'm listening to it then. I actually looked up the lyrics, and it's like, fuck me, that is a really honest, brutal story. He just gets it all off his chest, and it's really remarkably well done. The song Tangora, I like the topic of pollution, and I like how they switch between the two languages in that. It's very, very effective and powerful. Very well done there. And the song Unforgiving is something different from this band. The first time I just listened to the album all the way through, and it's just like, what is this? This is different, but in a good way. With repeat listens, man, it's a 7-minute slower paced epic. With it's got melodic lines. There's some very nice slick changes between the sections, and the lyrics, once again, very honest and very confronting. It's easy to forget how young this band is. Musically, they've always been impressive, and they've always told good stories in their lyrics, but this is just a fucking step up, I think, in my opinion. There's been obviously been a lot of growth with this band and this release, and I'm glad they're trying new things to produce a second album like this after the success of the first one. You'd think they would play it safe and just stick to what they know, but they are experimenting, which is cool. I give it 8.5 out of 10. Haputua, Tangora, Unforgiving, Buried Underground, and Dad. One of my standouts. I got that touch up on my mouth pronunciation.
Yeah, well, I don't think any of us are native to that at all, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, we're all going to fuck it up.
Yeah, we are. So speaking of that, Tim, it's your turn.
Can we call them friends of the show? I think we can call them friends of the show.
Yeah, I think we can call them friends of the show.
Yeah, cool. Well, we've interviewed them. We'll see them.
Well, Nikki ran up and gave them all a hug when they were at the festival, so definitely.
Yeah,
they
I
liked
think so.
your post the other night too.
I think so. Look, so we all fell in love with the first album, and we all had that question of, can they do it live? And they're fucking awesome live.
Yeah.
We were all, I think we're all looking forward to this one, and I think it's safe to say it exceeds any expectations. I think if you want to compare it to the first one, I'd say there's a little less, sit back and groove, and a bit more drama through dynamics, and I think it shows maturation in songwriting, and they haven't just thrown stuff to the wall. Like Dave said, they haven't played it safe either. They've actually, figured out how to write good songs. I would compare, like, I don't sound like anybody else, but if I had to compare them to someone, I'd say a little bit like Gojira, but without the pinch harmonics and Gojira things that Gojira do. They're a bit more. They sound like alien weaponry, but but in terms of the drama build, a little bit like that. But again, lyrically outstanding. Songwriting's outstanding. Drumming's fucking great. Kind of jealous that he's that good at that age.
That's all of us.
It's fucking. Yeah, I know. Yeah, man. Like it's really outstanding to see how good these guys are, and it's truly blown me away. It's a modern metal album that I'm sure makes older metal fans happy as well. And it's a very fine line to do. I think these guys are as cool as they come. They're a fantastic band. Top 10 contender for mine, easily.
Nice.
9.5 out of 10.
Beautiful.
Tito Kawaru, Tangaroa, and Dad for mine. Highlights. 9.5 out of 10.
Beautiful.
My best friend's My best friend's partner is Maori, and I'm sure right now if she sees my Maori pronunciation, she's going to smack me over the head.
I want someone to film that and send it in, all right? That's what I want. I want someone to film that and send it in.
There's no travel bubble at the moment, so I'm safe for a while.
Don't forget, people. Do not forget. Look, this really picks up nicely where the debut left off. Now, I don't think it's as... I think it's going to be hard to replicate the initial impact of the first album because that was so just, oh my fucking God, this is so different. So you have expectations going into this one. It's very hard to live up to those ones. There's a thing, the second album, Blues, kicks in a lot. This is not one of those cases at all. It's not as directly smack you in the face kind of thing, but it's much, because there's maturity and growth, the subtlety in this one is what actually grabs you more than the hard-hitting impact of the first album. That wind instrument they use to circulate I don't know what the fuck it is. I think fucking way off base probably, but there's an instrument where you sort of swing a bit of wood on a string or something and get around, and that's the whirlwind sound that goes in. They've really leaned into that on this one, and it's becoming a trademark for them, which is really cool. They've leaned more into the Maori side of the language as well. The tribal chanting and that is really kicking in. They're making themselves different in a world that's been so homogenized for the last couple of decades, to be honest, that it's refreshing and brilliant to see. And you forget how young they are with songs this good. I love the nature sounds in this one, the birds, the surf, that other stuff like that. There's little pipes and things in this one. It's just brought to life, this whole thing. There's a lot of subtlety in it and how it's put in there. It's nothing overpowering, not as dramatic an in-your-face thing, but they've just mixed it in really nicely. On that front, the mix is pretty cool too. They never going to be the world's most polished mix. You don't want it to be either. You want that bit of crunch and reality to this stuff too, because that's what aids the emotive impact of these songs and the writing. But for all that said, the lyrics, the vocal approach are fantastic on this. I've got great use of melody, harmony, and syncopation at the same time. I think the syncopation of the vocal delivery is really important on this, as well as the gang vocal aspect on it. This whole thing has punch and beauty all over it. It's aggressive, but never for the sake of it. Everything has impact and a purpose in these songs. I like the rumble in the bass. I think that's really cool, and they've actually probably fleshed out a bit more on this one to allow for more space. Like the way they've added space in the songs and the drama to stretch things out, there's more room for that to come into play because the guitar isn't being hit as often. So you've got the bass there to sort of fill out the sound wall along with the drumming, which is really cool. And it allows extra space for the vocals, which again ties into the emotion and the impact of the whole thing overall. I think execution is fantastic on this one. The lineup changes worked for them. There's nothing lost in this at all. This is just powerful stuff that just stirs and impresses you. I like the new addition in Unforgiving. That's a really nice touch with this one. A very softer vocal on that one. The guitar playing was softer on that as well. It's a really nice addition. Changed things up at the right time on the record as well. And what I found really cool listening to this one on this time around is because the two tracks they released previously, they stayed with you. So you hear Aika and you're singing along on the first pass of the album because it stayed with you. The same thing with Blinded as well. That was the other track. And so they're really cool songs. They stay with you, and that just shows how good they are because they were released up to a year ago or more as well, which is really nice. This is a really good album. There's a few tracks on this one that are guaranteed to have live banger moments on this one as well. So you got some great stuff in here. You got some great groove on things like Buried Underground. There's just good songs all over this album. The album flies by. I don't know about the requirement for the 5 radio edits being into it, but that's about one of the very few faults you can pick with it, and it's just on digital anyway, so who gives a shit. This is really, really good. It's one of those ones that's sneaky good. It could be a top 10 for me. I don't feel it straight away, but it's one of those ones where you just know it's going to keep sucking you back to it over and over again. And this band has a knack for creating a vortex that drags you in. This is one of those records for sure again, so I'm pretty sure my score is going to go up in time. But for now, 8.5 out of 10. Buried Underground, Ahika, Ihenga, and Unforgiving were my standouts on this one. So there's a few different takes for standouts, but all in all, we've got a lot of love for that band, and hopefully they still got a lot of love for us as well. But yeah, hopefully when all this shit is said and done, we can all catch up and see each other again very, very soon. That would be very much appreciated. Alrighty, let's get to some comments real quick. Dean says, Newsflash featuring Miles Kennedy single next month. Yep, there's an album coming for that soon too, so we're all very keen for that. Tough says, you guys ever heard of the Cybertronic Spree? They dress up as Transformers and sing their song. It's great. No, I haven't heard of them or seen it. What the fuck? I think that's a random. Okay, apparently Tough ran into him during the last stream we did because he always goes down the rabbit hole of clicking link after link after link, and he found it that way. Well done. We'll have to go and check that out. StormSinker say, love this album by Alien Weaponry. It's a fucking cracker. Sumerless has great video as well. Sally's said here they've been exposed to a lot more now. They've toured with Black Label Society. They've done Vulcan. It shows in the album. They're still impressive. The songs are good for sure. It didn't hit me with that massive trademark whack the first album did, but it's still wicked. That's
the first album had
shock value.
No, it had shock value, but it also had Holding My Breath and Kai Tangata, which had earworm factor to it.
Yeah.
Which this album doesn't really have that earworm factor.
Not as much, no, yeah.
But it's more it's more about the subtlety. This is more of a Metalhead's album than a casual album.
I agree with that. Yeah. And what I've found really cool about it too, just doubling down on this, is that they didn't try and recreate the debut. And I reckon that's really cool. I really do give them a whole lot of points for that.
That shows a bit of maturity too. So
really good listen. Really good listen.
That frankly most bands don't have.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Yep, good point. Changing gear. Dean said, I checked out the new Iron Maiden album. Didn't mind it at all. Good sound, and they're still great doing it. I forgot to say my thoughts of it a few days ago. Okay, cool. Well done. Sally also said their videos are killer too. Got to say that. The videos are hard to pull off when they do it. They are some of the best video-making bands going around. What do we got here? Lee said, first time around they created something unique. The appeal is lessened, but the songwriting is more mature. Probably a grower, but nonetheless just as impressed after 3 spins. It's so easy to listen to as well. It flies by, that one. Really easy to repeat spin. All right. We have one more to get through, our main event of the evening. Let's do it before everyone falls asleep on us tonight. It's in the comments, it's in the description, it's in the post. Wherever you're tuning in, check this out. The reference track is the Scythe's Remorseless Swing. What, Dave?
You do have to kick me out. I didn't do this one.
All right, in a moment. Oh, I'll do it now. Fuck it. Fine, okay, Dave, I'm going to send you to the naughty corner, and we will see you back in a minute for the bin and whatever else have you, okay?
Cool.
Back in a second, Dave. All righty. So, again, go back to it. The reference track is the Scythe's Remorseless Swing. The band is the mighty Carcass. That is our main event for tonight. So, Carcass, the Scythe's Remorseless Swing is the reference track. Whenever I get the words out, it's a fucking tongue twister like a lot of the titles are on this album. But anyway, here's our main event of the evening with Carcass, Torn Arteries, 10 tracks, 49 minutes, the 7th studio album from the British band, released September 2021 via Nuclear Blast, produced by the band, mixed by David Castillo, and mastered by Jens Bogren. 3 singles have been released, including Under the Scalpel Blade and Kelly's Meat Emporium. This is the band's first new album in 8 years, marks the first time since 1996's Swan Song that the band have recorded as a 4-piece, and it's also named after a demo tape recorded by former drummer Ken Owen. So there's a lot going on in the backstory of this record. Tim, I know you're a fan, so let's do it.
I'm a fan of Carcass, definitely a fan of Carcass. I'm going to put this in the I need to listen to it more category. Because it didn't jump out at me in the way that, like Heartwork is a classic Carcass album and Surgical Steel is a great album. And the first few listens, I think this is a very well-written, really good album, but it just doesn't have the... It doesn't have, again, like we were talking about as the Alien Weaponry album, this doesn't have quite that earworm factor that an album like Heartwork has.
Okay.
I found. However, what it does have is it has a nice groove to it throughout, but it also has the nice rhythmic chops as well. This band, plays like a machine, a well-oiled machine really well, and I found that aspect quite enjoyable. But yeah, I do need to listen to this a few times around as well, I think, because I've listened to it twice now, and I'm kind of in that mood where it's like there are parts about it I like, but there's also parts about it that I did find my mind wandering throughout it as well. But it could just be, as well, like there's a lot of like Carcass are one of the original guys that sounded like this, and 25 years later, there's a lot of bands that sound like this.
Yeah.
So
So you're putting the onus on them to reinvent themselves?
I don't know. That's the thing. I feel like I'm being harsh, but at the same time, it's just like, there's not much about this that's going to make me listen to this over artwork.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Granted, I thought there were some great tracks on here. I think Under the Scalpel Blade is great. Devil Rides Out is great. It sounded fantastic. I thought performances were fantastic. And don't get me wrong, like I might sound like I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. Like the songs are really good. It's just I don't think this is going to stand out in the world of Swedish death metal. When it all is said and done. But yeah, like overall, it is a good listen to. Well worth listening to if you're a Carcass fan or any fan of Swedish riffs. 8 out of 10. Under the Scalpel Blade is my highlight. But yeah, pretty good. But without being outstanding.
Okay. Alrighty. This is interesting then, because you're much more all over what Carcass have done with their body of work than I will ever be. But from my layman's point of view, I've reviewed a couple of albums before in the past, but this one was one I was curious about because of that history with that in mind. This is like brutal as you expect from this sort of band, but there's a lot more to it, a heap more to it than just being brutal for brutal's sake. I thought there was a lot of stuff going on. What I found really cool about this was the groove. The groove and the lyrics on this really, really did intrigue me. Dance X-Tab is almost a sludge metal song. That thing, I love the swing. That song slapped for me. I fucking really did enjoy that one. It was like the second track in, and fucking boom, here you go. For an idea of what the lyrical content can be about, you got a song title here, Eleanor Rigor Mortis, which is a very tongue-in-cheek, very fun kind of thing going on here. Look, it's not so much humor as there is wit. The way they deliver the lyrics, the storytelling, it's cool that the mix allows it to cut through because it is very gravelly, growly. But I really did enjoy the craft of the lyrics and how they were delivered vocally and in the mix because you were able to hear it. Great storytelling in that front. It's very, very dark overall. It's very death metal in that regard, but it worked. And it wasn't just purely, it's not, walking through the forest wanting to kill the other band. There's some substance to these stories and everything's going pretty well. I figured that'd get a chuckle out of you there, Tim. But it's really, really well done. I thought there's some solid riffs on this, some fantastic solos too. The way they used the lead breaks on this was actually really intriguing. The lead work was cool. And I thought in the lead guitar tone, that was fantastic as well. The solos had, against the backdrop of the grittier stuff, there was this really clean tone with the lead that really cut through the great groove tempo shifts. This isn't punishing at all to listen to. This one actually flies by as a listen as well, same as Alien Weaponry. I like the grit in it. Some nice use of panning this here and there. Not a lot, but there is some nice use of panning, just hard left, hard right on certain instruments, certain times, just for impact. Done very, very nicely. And they also brought in an acoustic guitar in Flesh-Ripping Sonic Torment, or Sonic Torment Limited. That is a really cool, epic song coming in at just under 10 minutes. And that was actually a really intriguing piece of music. I did enjoy that one. I thought the phrasing and the pacing across the record was great. It's just really well put together. And I like the little touch of the hand claps in God We Trust. There was little things across this one that made it really interesting to me to take in. So yeah, I thought the back third of this in particular had some nice tonal shifts to keep you engaged for the last little stanza there too. I think it's really well done. If you're not a fan of the band, I don't know, because Tim, you're the bigger fan than I am, but for me, this one is one of those ones that could eventually become a gateway album. There's enough in this. I know the growly lyrics are there, but musically, composition-wise, entertainment value, there's a lot in this one to take in. I think it could be a sneaky little gateway record into this band and into the genre of music overall. It's surprisingly upbeat and infectious while being dark and brutal and brooding at the same time. It's a very, very well done, well written, well recorded, well performed piece of work. I really did enjoy it. 8.5 out of 10. I can't believe I'm scoring it higher than you. I put Dance of Ixtab, In God We Trust, Flesh-Ripping Sonic Torment Limited as my standouts, but every single song here is really worth your time. So yeah.
Oh look, if you've ever listened to for lack of a better term, those metalcore bands from 10 years ago and thought, I like the verses, but I hate the boy band choruses. Carcass are a good band to listen to.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
definitely.
bands like Carcass and In Flames and Dark Tranquility and Dissection and Arch Enemy, and there's a whole world of bands out there.
Yep.
Even like even a band like Death and Necrophagia, and
Yep.
there's a world out there with these guys.
And that's where I think this album might be a good little gateway into that world. I think it's enough there to suck people in, and not enough to put them off. It's one of those vortex kind of records, which is cool. Alrighty, we'll bring Dave into the stream while I bring some comments back into the thing. So, hey, Dave's back. And the first comment for that review was, okay, Tim, go. So I'm not going to say anything to your review there. Tough said, I've just got to say that it's kind of cool listening to you guys while I watch these links. Helps with the descriptions. He's also got another great find. Ticks all my metal boxes, which really just one dose. It fucking rock. Or does it fucking rock? Yes or no? The answer is a high pitch. Yeah. So he was very, very happy with this one too. And that's the main point. So long as you find one thing that that gets your attention in these episodes, that's what it's really all about. So hopefully everyone's having some fun tonight. But we are at the conclusion of another episode. So our next stream in theory will be on Thursday. We'll be covering the Raven Age, Florence Black, and a classic from Megadeth that we keep putting off, but I keep saying we're going to get to it at some stage. Maybe I'll drop it if we don't do it this time around because it's apparently cursed. So we'll see what happens this week in that regard. But that's on Thursday night. Make sure you check us out on television as well. 10 p.m. Thursday night, Channel 44 Australian Central Time. And then we have 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights in Melbourne on Australian Eastern Time on Channel 31. That's what's coming up every week. TV for us this week on Channel 31, and then starting next week on Channel 44, it's all about Van Halen. So that's the Van Halen specialist coming up very, very shortly in that regard once I get done editing it. Our next special after this one is going to be Slipknot. We've not done Slipknot before. We're going to cover them for Halloween this year. That's the way we're going to do things. So Halloween's Dave's favorite part of the year, and we're going to enjoy this one for that one there as well. So, all right, so that's all the details. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, comment, and get engaged. And if you're not tuning in live with us, wherever you're tuning in, if it's on the audio stream or audio platforms, I should say, or you're tuning in later on, please do give us your thoughts whenever you're tuning in. We do appreciate you taking the time to sit here with us whenever you get a chance to do so. What else have we got? That's about it. I think that's the usual preamble of usual stuff. Big thank you to our fantastic sponsors as well. Squid and Screen Printing, Alt, Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Please find them, give them a follow. Any and all links you need to us, to our sponsors, to the stuff we've talked about tonight is in the post or the description or wherever it is you're tuning into this from. You'll find everything you need there. So go and check those out. Please do. Like I was saying, comment, share, all those things. Very important to help us get the word out there. Same thing for our sponsors too. Give them some love. So I'll get some comments in a second. Actually, no, I'll do it now before we go to the bin. All right. When I mentioned Slipknot, Sally's gone, yes, small squeal, Slipknot. There we go. So with a number 8 at the end there. Dean says, just an article, Mark Tremonti said that Alter Bridge will be going into the studio in April. Okay, cool. He's got a new album coming up very, very shortly as well, which is gone here. Mark Tremonti's new album is at the end of the month, and Mark Tremonti's albums are fucking good, but for the rest, I'm very keen to check that out. Tough is really pushing the Transform band, so we'll have to try and track that down. And Beck's gone, cheers. So thank you for joining us tonight, Beck. I'm glad you stuck with it. And we will make sure we go and check out the Electric Mary track as well as soon as possible, at the same time as that Transformer thing. Put links in the comments, please. So Tough and Beck, put links in the comments to what you want us to check out there. So that makes it a bit easier for us to go back and find things in due course. All right. It is time for some fun now to wrap things up as we go to the conclusion of the episode, and it's that favorite part of the week we all have, and that is the bin. So there is a lot of low-hanging fruit today. Let's see how we go. Tim?
There's low-hanging fruit, but I'm not going to touch it. Not to sound like a dumbass millennial, but I don't own any way of which to watch normal TV.
Yes.
So when Channel 7 yesterday, 5 minutes before the Brownlow came, I was like, oh, by the way, you can only watch the Brownlow if you've got traditional TV. Get fucked.
Yeah. Yep.
Fuck you,
really? Fuck you.
You pushed your streaming servers. I'm glad I got rid of 7+ at the end of the Olympics.
Yep.
You know what it was like? It was like when Patty and Selma failed Homer for his chauffeur's test. It was like, delete. Oh, thank God. Oh, that felt good.
There we go. All right.
Terrible stuff.
Yeah, not
Straight
good.
to fucking Brownlow.
Yep, I completely agree. Oh, we got some comments on that one too. All right, cool. We'll get that in a second. Anything else you want to add there, Tim?
Nah, that's it.
All right, Dave, over to you. Your turn. What's in the bin?
Yeah, I'll do it. Violent protesters. You fucking idiots. You're not going to get your point across when you just have like a bunch of fucking drop kicks. And I just saw in my little break there's a video going around that somebody kicked a dog.
Yes.
You know, fucking, what the hell did the dog ever do to you? It just goes beyond my comprehension. What the fuck you're trying to achieve by turning the whole thing violent and attacking cops, kicking dogs? What the fuck do you want? You know, you just come across with a bunch of assholes.
Yep.
It's not going to achieve anything, so just fuck off.
Yep. Well, my bin tonight is now the two of you for stealing both my bins. So fuck you both. No, yeah, I did have the we don't have the dog bark, but fuck it, this one deserves it. Cunt to kick the dog. Fuck you. Tim and I both work with rescue dogs that have needed some extra TLC. And to tell you what, I'm not saying one kick is traumatic, but just to know what dog psychology and how they treat and remember things, yeah, fuck you. If that is how strong and brave you are, notice how the fucker run backwards too as soon as he'd done it. Fuck him. And I know he's been reported to the cops in the RSPCA. If they let him off in any way, shape, or form, they should throw the book at the fucker. Don't do it.
Yep.
Don't let it stand. Fuck that guy. And if he's got a job, sack him too. Fuck it. You can't do that. I know that's cancel culture and people don't like that, but fuck me. Cruelty to dogs at a fucking protest.
No, you should be held responsible for your actions.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Agree. And the other one, yeah, Channel 7, not streaming the Brownlow. Now, fuck off. If you are not, you're all the networks, all of them, 10, 9, 7, fucking the lot. If Channel 31 and Channel 44 can live stream shit every fucking week on their shoestring budgets and Channel 7 and the AFL can't find a way to stream the Brownlow and other networks can't find a way to stream their shit either, fuck you all. Get in the bin. For all the fuss that's been made over community television and all the shit they've had to go through to keep themselves going, you guys can't even do that. Fuck off. And then be in the bin. Fuck off. Just stay there. Don't ever get out. Just fucking stupid. Yeah, here we go. We've got some comments actually too, which is cool. Before we get out of here, what do we got here? So Beck said Channel 7 of vile vultures of trash scum in the bin. Yes, and I think that in general most of the media are. Nudes has got one that's close to our hearts here. Is there any bin that Ric Flair and Tommy Dreamer aren't in at the moment? Which is to do with the dark side.
Oh man.
That's an interesting one. That one, watching that play out, we'll see how that one ends up.
I didn't watch that. I did watch that too. What I will say is it's different because every story that I've heard before, but it is different reading a story and then seeing the first-hand account. It is,
more impact.
Yeah.
All right. Tuff's gone. There you go, which is cool. Beck said, yes, Dave, when you put the dog kicker in the bin. So Tuff says, dude, the kick the dog in the bin with the people's elbow and an RKO from nowhere. That's a good way to put it as well. Here we go. Angry face. No dog kicking. Fuck it. There we go. And Beck's agreeing with me as well. He says, a common theme here. Tuff says, I worked at a dog kennel course. They do nothing to deserve this. Dogs do nothing to deserve this. It's fucking stupid. Sally's gone, I have a rescue dog. I'd have cut the fuck had I been there. It's one of those ones. I think everyone does this. Everyone agrees on that one. Dogs are sacrosanct. Don't fuck with dogs or cats or animals in general. Fuck you if you do. That's borderline sociopathic, psychopathic behavior. Fuck off. Dean says 170 bins is getting deep. Yeah, we're not having as much fun tonight with the bin. We had a lot of fun earlier on with the. We can put ourselves in the bin for our lists of trying to piss people off with our fan albums. That's the fun part for tonight. Tuff says new remade retro game consoles with the shit controllers you still can't use in the fucking bin. So that's a fun one there as well. And that makes
You know what should go in the bin? And they're like they're remaking like old arcade games with like the as an emulator. But like you can get like you can get like NBA Jam for $1,000, but it's just NBA Jam. But then for like an extra $500, you can get like thousands of games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why not just shell out that little bit more and get thousands of games? I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't know. Sumaleth on the same note, disappointing albums in the bin. That's that happens. That does happen when you watch the show enough. And Andrew here is saying, thanks for another entertaining night. I'm glad we've done that. Hopefully everyone out there has had some fun with us tonight. We've had a lot of fun doing it. Bit of a longer one, but it's a lot of fun at the same time. So hopefully everyone's managed to sit through it and enjoy it. Hopefully you guys had some fun doing it as well. Thank you to both of you for taking the time on a Monday to do it. I think the Mondays are a good little session, but we'll see how it works out.
Always fun.
Yeah. All right. But I think it's time for us to now get out of here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you all again, in theory, hopefully on Thursday. Otherwise, check us out on TV. Thursday night, Channel 4 at 44 Adelaide. Saturday night, Channel 31 in Melbourne. And that'll be us for tonight. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Until then, take care. As always, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
Tim.
I was wondering how that'd go because the fucking order changed on the screen. Anyway, until next time.
Drink up.
Rock on.
Speak.